First off, guys, thanks everyone for taking the time to join us tonight. I know it's you guys are all very busy with your children's schedules and everything you have going on. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us tonight. I think the purpose of the meeting is just to kind of provide you guys with some information on the junior program, but also to kind of take any questions you guys might have, take any feedback you guys might have on how we can improve the program and make it better for all the club's juniors. But again, thanks for coming, and hopefully it's an informative session that just provides you with a little bit more insight to all the fun stuff we have planned in the coming months and years.
All right, so I'm just going to share my screen, and I guess just like any other Zoom call, just let me know if you see the right thing there. Okay, can everybody just give me a little thumbs up? Okay, perfect. So we got.
Sorry, guys, just a few more people coming in. There we go.
Okay, perfect. All right. So this is actually a very recent picture from our Summer Club Championships, the U7. We had a great little tournament for one day. This is actually the first year that we introduced scoring for the little ones, for the red ballers, and we thought it was a success. We had some nice matches, some nice battles, and you'd be surprised what the red ballers can really do. So we figured before we start, we'll just introduce ourselves a little bit for those who may or may not know us very well. So Jamie, you can start.
Yeah, so here's a little bit about myself. I'm not gonna read it all off and bore you guys, but I think I've met most of you by now. If I haven't, I look forward to meeting you soon.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm a coach 2, club pro 2. I've been working at the club for about 6 years. Been very involved in coaching tennis for quite some time. But again, I'm not going to bore with you with all the details. If you would like to read through it, we will be sending it later, and you can kind of scroll through and take a look.
All right, and I am Isabella. I've been at the Boulevard since 2020, 2021 full time. I am also Club Pro 2 certified, and I am currently completing my Coach 2 course. And I also work with Tennis Canada on a U6 curriculum, as well as running OTA coaching courses. So that's also pretty fun, something I do outside of the Boulevard Club. And there it is. My favorite shot is forehand, but I'm currently injured, so I have to say my favorite shot is my lefty forehand now. All right, so a few things we're going to cover today. It would be some junior program stats, our membership information, as well as some photos from our recent events, as well as the junior tennis pathway, an overview of the transition guidelines. That's something that we've added this year, as well as some other competitive things we've added to the program, and we are planning on adding some more. Important dates. We'll go quickly over game time and cancellation policy for the programs. And of course, review a little bit of the dress code, and finally share some helpful resources for you. And of course, go through a little Q&A session. And while we're presenting, if there's any questions you may have, feel free to just drop them down in the chat, and we'll address them at the end. So just so you don't lose your train of thought. Okay.
Yeah, so here we just have just some numbers and figures kind of to show you, just sort of to kind of outline some of the growth that the program has gone through in the last year. So you can see, whether it's fall, winter, spring, we've been kind of steadily growing over the last few years, which I think is great. We've got a lot more junior players at the club, which means a lot more opportunity to play with all sorts of different players. It means we have a more variety of programs. And it's just been awesome to see, just how the sheer volume of kids we now have playing at the club. I think it's a great thing. Again, I'm not going to read out all these stats for you, but if you want to just take a look over, and again, we will be sending this out after the presentation. So if you want to look at it in more detail, feel free. as you can see, the program has been growing quite a bit over the last 4 years.
Yeah, so if we were to look at, for example, the numbers in 2019 in the spring, we got 136, and then the spaces that we're offering in the spring of 2022, it's 422 spaces. So that's, just over 300% increase in our junior programming. So we can see how we've really tried to create as much space as possible, and we've really had quite a bit of changes in the timing and the court usage, and so far it's been a success, and we hope to continue to expand as much as we can. One thing I do have to highlight though, Jamie, is this year was the first year that we had our girl power group. Well, some of our younger players go to the National Bank Open, which previously was referred to as the Rogers Cup, and it was a success. So it was 8 girls. They were playing on court just before Serena's last match in Toronto. You can see the names, and you can see all the girls here. We were with Ivanka Osmak from Sportsnet, so that was honestly pretty nerve-wracking for me as she was interviewing me on the go. The girls were superstars. I know that some of them are actually in the meeting right now. I saw Lauren, and I'm sure there's a few more of the parents here. So thank you again for participating, and we look forward to hopefully having this happen again. This was part of the Girls Set Match initiative that Tennis Canada is organizing. And it's really just to keep more girls in sport from a younger age, and hopefully carry them through until, at least past high school. So very nice initiative. And our Boulevard girls were superstars. So
yeah, here's just a few statistics, just in terms of how many junior section members we now have. So for those of you who kind of don't know what junior section member is, essentially allows you to book courts as a junior and kind of play with other juniors at the club. You're able to take private instruction, participate in the junior box ladder, these sorts of things. As you can see, it's kind of been steadily climbing since 2019, which is great. And yeah, it's awesome to see all of our club seniors getting out and playing outside of the junior program, whether it's just match play or taking private lessons. It's great that we have so many section members in the junior within our juniors at the club. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Here are some of our club champs from the U9 and the U10 draw. Some of the medalists that we had in September. And here are a few more pictures from some of the winners. I know for a fact that Tiago and Tavish had a nice battle in 2 age categories. And then here we had Sophia, we had Roxanne, Aria. So again, like there's Eden with a trophy, Nora. So lots of good matches.
Yeah, tons of good matches playing. Not just from the winners and the champions, but all our competitors across all the categories. Just amazing seeing all the fierce competition out there, and I think seeing how much everyone enjoyed this tournament and the tournaments we've had in the past. I think there's a thirst for more ways to compete and have competition here at the club, and that's something we're certainly looking at doing and expanding, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we get through the presentation.
All right, so in order to participate in the junior programming, you do not have to be a tennis member. However, if you want to do things like playing outside the junior program, whether on their own or in the junior box ladder match, or let's say book a private lesson with one of our pros, then the players would have to become junior tennis members. Right now, the cost is $225 plus HSC, and there is currently no waitlist for that, so no harm in trying. However, you have to be aware of the junior playing times, which you can see over here, and these are the same times that are used for the box ladder, which we'll get into a little bit later. But one thing to note for sure is that if you book on the same day, or 24 hours in advance, the booking can be done at any time. So it does not have to be between the times mentioned over here. Okay, so some of you have probably seen this on the wall as you pass through the hallway. Here's our pathway. So the little ones, when between 3 to 5, they start in the Le Petit program, which is a program offered in the Breakwater gym. And it's only a half an hour program, really just meant to encourage players to develop their fundamental skills and start a little bit of a, of their tennis skills, but it's really more about having fun. Well, it's always about having fun, but really just starting to get used to the racket, to the ball, and mainly to develop their motor skills. Followed by red ball, which happens on court for the first time. This is, I'm not going to read everything, but this is on a mini court, and it's usually using a 19 or 21-inch racket. So it's really important that the kids that we that are in the programs have the appropriate size. If you pass through the red ball program, you are then moving to the orange ball program, which is, we like to say 8+, but of course some kids move a lot sooner depending on their skills. So it's not always about the age. This one is played almost on an entire court, and it's one of the most important categories in terms of development. And this uses 23 to 25-inch rackets. Then from here, as you can see, at our club, we're moving into 2 streams. We have green ball or advanced green ball. And this is a matter of how competitive the players are, how interested they are in developing or playing in more competitions or in more competitive environment. And it's really up to the parents and the coaches' communication to really make a decision on that. And from there, from green ball, you could go to regular ball or advanced regular ball, which are now also calling advanced teams. So we've sort of developed a more, more of a high school kind of program, or players who are just becoming teens. And so far the registration has been pretty good. And of course, we've also have the high performance 1 and 2. Typically, we move the players from advanced green ball into high performance 1 and 2, but it's not limited to it. Sometimes we do have some teens interested, and potentially they have the right skills, or if they catch up to everybody, then or to the standard, we could say, then they could go into high performance 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is a very heavy slide. I will not go over this too much, but this is very helpful for you to potentially do a screenshot or just briefly look at it. We are going to be, these are the Tennis Canada standards from transitioning, for example, from red to orange ball, from orange to green, or green to regular ball. So we are going to incorporate some report cards in the upcoming season, so that at the end of the season, we are going to provide some feedback from each player in terms of, can they do this? Can, for example, from red ball to orange ball, is the player's racket head above their hands in the forehand and back in preparation? Are they able to rally with consistency, whether it's more of a pop rally where they have a self rally before they send the ball over the net, or so different criteria, as you can see. And this will help, hopefully, parents understand sort of what we're looking for when it comes to transitioning, and especially when it comes to, suggesting advanced green ball versus green ball, and same thing for high performance 1 or 2, or potentially advanced team. So this is, again, slightly heavy, but hopefully that helps a little bit. Jimmy, would you like to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things we're kind of looking at doing in the new year's and integrating some fitness programs into our high performance programs. So obviously coordination and fitness are 2 things that are very important for tennis. And I think the more we can kind of develop the physical literacy of our players at the club, the better our players are going to become, and the better they become, the more they're going to enjoy the sport. So we're still kind of working out the details of it, but I think the basic idea is that, you'd have your junior program, hour-and-a-half high performance program, and then either immediately after or immediately before the program, we'd run kind of a half-hour fitness program with one of the fitness trainers, either up in the gym, or we're looking at a few other spaces we can they can possibly make that happen. So yeah, really cool project we're working on that we're hoping to kind of get launched in the new year.
Yeah, so in order to develop this program, we had one of the Tennis Canada trainers. His name is Clément, and he is helping with all of these, I guess, parts of coordination that you can see. And we are working closely together with the fitness department to really put something together for the kids and really help them develop their coordination. As really, the level of a player would only get as high as the level of their coordination. So not to say that this is the only thing they need to do, but of course we encourage them continuing with all the many sports that I'm sure they're already doing as a supplementary training for tennis, whether they become tennis players or high performance players or not in the future past our programs. It's really important to have as a skill for life. So more information on that to come. Yeah, let's see this. And oh, Hamid says, great initiative, should have this for adults too. And yes, we actually, I know this is for juniors, but we do have tennis fitness classes if you go on the weekly clinics. And we're looking to create a few more as well, but we do have some of those already. So definitely check it out on Game Time.
Of course, Hamid was the one that picked out around. He's not into fitness at all.
Right.
So a couple other competitive add-ons that we're looking at doing. So there's been a lot of feedback from the parents that the juniors at the club have really loved playing in all the tournaments we've hosted. Up until now, we've kind of been doing 2 club championships at the club, one in the winter, one in the summer. Before COVID, we did have some inter-club stuff going on, and obviously that has kind of halted a little bit in the last few years as we dealt with COVID. But with that now past us, hopefully we're obviously able to travel a little bit to other clubs. We're able to have juniors from other clubs travel to our club, and so we're going to be looking at creating all sorts of competitive opportunities for our juniors to get involved in. So one thing we started up is the junior box ladder. We ran it through the summer, which is great. It's essentially just a way to get our junior players playing matches with each other outside of the junior program. Obviously, participating in the junior program is going to be great for their games, but any additional hours that they can get on the court outside the program is going to be really beneficial to them. Your box ladder is sort of geared at getting that going. Essentially how it works is you get put into a box with about between 6 and 10 players at your level. It's usually about a 2-month session where you reach out to the players in your box, organize to play a match outside of the junior program. You record your scores online, and then based on how you do within a current 2-month session, you either move up and do a higher box for the next session, or move down for the session for the next session. So that's kind of a good way to get our juniors competing with each other at the club. And we've also got some opportunities to compete outside the club. So the cricket club tournament, or the cricket club is hosting a tournament coming up on
November 19th.
November 19th. Thank you, Isabella.
Yeah.
It's from 12 to 7. We've actually got a ton of players signed up, which is awesome. I think we've got somewhere between 25 and 30 players signed up at the moment, which is amazing. I'll be traveling down to the tournament as well to kind of, just watch everyone compete and help them get ready for their matches and go over some things post-match. And we're also going to be looking at hosting some tournaments here at the Boulevard Club as well. So we're going to be doing an under 10 tournament at some point in December. We've kind of got a few weekends we're looking at right now. There'll be more information on that coming up. And then we're going to do a tournament for kind of the older age categories in the new year, which we're really looking forward to as well. We'll be inviting, all the other private clubs from around Toronto, and it'll just be a great opportunity for our juniors to play some new players and some new faces, which will be great. And then we're also looking at creating a junior spring league. So this will be kind of more of a, team-based league, very similar to how the ladies' day leagues run, or the evening summer leagues. You'd essentially, one day a week, go play another club. I think it'll be a mix of singles and doubles. We're still kind of in the process of creating this. We're in talks with all the pros from the other clubs around Toronto, and really exciting initiative that we're getting going now that, again, COVID is behind us, and we're able to sort of mix it up with the other clubs a little more. So for those of you looking for more competitive opportunities, there will be some coming up, which is really exciting.
All right. So speaking of coming up, here are some important dates and plans. Again, feel free to screenshot this. Some of these you can see are TBD, but we just wanted to see kind of where our mind's at in terms of plans. So the current junior programming, the fall is finishing on December 23rd. We are almost fully booked, but even though the registration is closed, if you wish to register for additional days, feel free to email Jamie or myself, and we'll be happy to guide you through and register tickets for you. The current box ladder finishes again at the end of the junior programming. I did mention stay closed, but do we have any more spots, Jamie?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like we have kind of set up the boxes, and I know I've been sending out lots of communications on this, but if it's something that you're kind of just hearing about now and you're hoping to get your child in, please reach out, and we'd be happy to squeeze them in and get them going for this current session for sure.
We also will be organizing a junior program survey, so this will be something new for the programming, and we'll get this out at the end of the fall programming to get your feedback. And even if your kids did not participate in it, feel free to anything you want to add, and it'd be really valuable for both us, but also you, really, because this is for our players, to hopefully improve the program even more. Also, to improve the program, we are going to form a parent committee, and again, more information on that to come, but just so you know that it's coming, and would love to have a even stronger connection with the parents. The holiday camps are going to take place in 2023 between January 2nd and 6th, and the registration opens very soon, November 16th at 10 a.m. It'll be on Game Time, so we'll send an email about that as a reminder, but keep that in mind, pencil it in, and hopefully we'll see you there. And then, as Jeannie mentioned, the tournament is coming up soon at the Cricket Club. We have our winter junior programming following the same dates as school, starting on January 9th, and we will be finishing it on April 9th. So registration for this one, very important, December 7th at 10 a.m. As you know, it goes very, very quickly, so definitely be on that. Set an alarm, and we'll be happy to help you out through the registration as well, but it is the parents that have to register their children. So in terms of March break camp, as you can see, 13th to 17th, and one important thing is that we will not have a junior spring programming, unfortunately, due to the bubble down and the grade beam project. So this is one of the reasons why we are looking at creating this junior spring league, so hopefully our players can be playing as guests at other clubs while we're competing. So we won't be hosting the other teams as much, but we still want to provide opportunities for our players to be active and not miss out on the tennis throughout this time. And then our camps start June 19th, and they go all the way through September 1st. Anything else to add, Jamie?
No, yeah, I think you pretty well covered that.
All right. So by now, I feel like a lot of the parents know how to register, cancel registration. I think cancel registration is one thing that we could review a little bit, as well as booking a court, especially now that we have the junior box ladder. So I'll just quickly share my screen and go through it. And in the meantime, if there's any questions you may have, again, feel free to write them in the chat, or you can save them for the Q&A session. Just 1 second here. All right. Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen now. I'm obviously on on an admin account, but it should be fairly similar when it comes to accessing the game time. The easiest one to look at is how to book courts. So you go under tennis, you pick, let's say I want to book tomorrow at 8 a.m. I just click on it. I select lesson, sorry, not lesson. I guess this is a habit, a match, or you can have singles, but input the names and simply book. And that's really it. In case the players are not junior members, there will be an error message saying that the membership level is not allowed. So of course, make sure that the players are all members when we're joining and that there's the accurate names used by the bookings. Now, in terms of registering for classes, right now registration is closed. However, you normally go on classes and events, categories, tennis, and then we have our junior programming here. So you can find all the classes once you click on that. And same thing for the junior box ladder. You go on here and you would be registering here. However, when you do input the junior box ladder, Jimmy, you want to talk about that one? It's under the tennis. It's under the tennis category as well, but you have to go on all ladders right here. Oh, there it goes.
So yeah, you just click junior box ladder, November, December. As you see, all the kind of names of the players in each box are here. You should have all now received an email with all the contact information for the players within each given box. And when you want to enter a result, you just click enter new result. You'd enter the two players' names, the amount of games each player won, the date they played on, and you just hit submit. Simple as that.
There you go. Now, in terms of registering or canceling registration, I know that it's easy to register. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing where to find what your child is registered for. So you go on my account and then appointments. So here I have as a member, there you go. So you would see your own, but if you'd like to see the entire family, then you go on family bookings, and then you'd be able to see all the bookings here. And under action, it'll say cancel. So as easy as that, you just cancel and there you go. Okay, so I'll stop sharing that. Hopefully that was clear enough, not too quick. But again, let us know if you're going through any troubles about that. Go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So in terms of cancellation, we've introduced this in very recently in the past couple of terms. So the players have 2 weeks to try the program or to be registered before they will get charged for canceling. So the first 2 weeks, if you pull out of the program, you just pay for those the classes that you attended, and any cancellations that happen 2 weeks after that, so the third session onwards, they will result in a fee of minimum 50% of the total program cost. All right, I think we're doing a lot better with the dress code. Of course, we still want to remind everybody that the dress code does apply to the junior program as well. And it's especially, not necessarily to not to damage the course per se, for example, for the running shoes versus tennis shoes, but really this is for our children's safety. They have much more ankle stability, for example, if they have their tennis shoes on. And it's also more important that we have the appropriate attire in order to create those good habits. When let's say you have a job interview, you want to look accordingly. When you go to play tennis, you have a certain look. So it's also a matter of professionalism and just creating those good habits from an early age. So just here, I'll show the visuals for something easier to follow. We are not to take big logos, whether they are a tennis logo or not. Unfortunately, we do not accept that. No leggings, or compression pants for men or for boys. If they are to wear that, they will have to be covered by either a skirt or shorts. and the top must meet the bottom. So as nice as some of the outfits may look, unfortunately, we have to follow, the tennis appropriate attire dress code, and have the top meet the bottom, and so on. So one big one, I would say, no deep treads in the shoes. Like I mentioned before, sometimes the kids end up sliding a lot. They might hurt themselves, or they don't have enough ankle stability. And it's also not good for the hard true, which of course you all as members, hopefully you get to enjoy. So it's a win-win situation if we follow the dress code. In terms of caps or hats, tennis appropriate, no other logos. Hoodies are a little bit of a no as well. Tracksuits are fine. So I'm wearing a tracksuit. It's a Nike tracksuit, and it is, an athletic one, as well as the one with the zip up. So that's fine. As long as there's no super baggy clothing or hoodies. And you know where I'm going with this. So, all right. In terms of drop off and pickup. So obviously, as the COVID numbers have been, it hasn't really been an issue as much. We do welcome the parents if they want to, especially when we're outdoors to spectate and watch. But as of now, I believe that the season is really, a lot of the kids are sick again. So we're trying to limit the contact or the people coming in as much as possible in the bubble. When coming in, please ensure that they come at the start time, as there's almost always members playing just before or other programs. So it's important to be respectful and mindful of their own time on court as well. And when waiting, please just wait outside the bubble or inside the club, just by the tennis office, especially when it's cold now that we're entering the winter. And we'll just call everybody in, or just when it's time to go, that's when the parents can quickly go in or go out.
Yeah, and I think that's a big one, guys, especially for sort of the busier programs like the 12:30 weekend programs. And I know it may seem a little bit silly, but just for the members before that are playing, if we could really try to wait in the hallway and not enter the courts until exactly the start of the program. I know that the members playing beforehand would really appreciate just having a nice, undisturbed end to their booking. So that'd be one that would really be appreciated by the members. So.
And if you're early, I mean, a good idea would be to, especially for the little kids I'm talking here, maybe go to the washroom or have them be ready, as sometimes we have the kids, oh, I want to go to the washroom, and we're totally fine. We do have enough staff to take some of the kids to the washroom, but we always encourage doing all of that beforehand so that they get to enjoy the full hour of tennis and not get any distractions or disruptions. Some helpful resources, again, this can be a screenshot that you may take. So some tips for parents. So this is directly for you. The LTAD, so the long-term athlete development. This is a really nice guide for both competitive and recreational players. They separate it from boys and girls. And this guide shows, for example, for a competitive 10-year-old, how many hours should they spend on court practicing, how many hours should they spend on court competing, what kind of skills, whether it's mental, tactical, physical, they should have, or they should, what the standard would be. So a really, really interesting guide. I highly recommend taking a look. I know that they are going to update it soon, so the information might not be as accurate as it was once, but it's definitely a good start. Another really good resource is a Learn to Play. If you can just also Google it, Learn to Play Tennis. This is a really nice resource, especially for the parents that are involved and they want to provide their children maybe some additional training. You have a list of activities, including videos or diagrams for you to easily be able to, do that at home as well, or on court. But also for you to get an idea of the activities that we do with the players, depending on their age and their level. The TPA website, so all the coaches are TPA members. So as a TPA member, you get some different resources like webinars. You get some discounts for equipment. So maybe this is not exactly for you necessarily, but again, if you're very involved and if you play tennis yourself, something to consider. And in terms of OTA, so the Ontario Tennis Association, you can see the programs that they're offering outside of here. A lot of the the city programs, the tournaments. So for our competitive players, you should know this by now, but you go on the OTA tournament software to find tournaments. And even just because you're not in the high performance program, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying to play the tournaments. The entry level will be the rookie tournaments. So anyone's welcome to try them and sign up. All you have to do is just get a OTA membership yearly, and then the kids can sign up. So if you need any help with that, feel free to email Jamie and I with more information. And finally, the physical literacy handbook. So to give you an idea of what tennis physical literacy would entail, that would also be a good start. So again, good starting point for lots of resources here for you. And of course, Jamie and I are also here. And that concludes our part of talking. Now we really want to hear from you. And I know there's some in the chat, but would love to hear any questions or feedback. And the floor is yours now. So I'll actually stop sharing my screen because I would rather see you if you are on camera. So, okay. So I think one more. All right. So, all right. Jessica Portman, Jess Portman.
Hi,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. I have sort of two questions. I love the idea of the fitness being part of the program. One of my kids has that deeply involved in another sport, but it's always managed not during the practice time. So for example, if I just use hockey, because that's a very similar one to tennis, is that you're on the ice or you're on the court. So would this fitness program run during the lesson time? So it would be like on the courts, or is this something that would be in addition to the lesson?
So I think the idea is that it would be included in the program cost, but that, so right now, for instance, our high performance program runs for an hour and a half on court. So the idea would be that we'd, just to make it convenient on your end so that you don't have to necessarily add another day or another time, is we'd still do that hour and a half on court. And then the kids would kind of go up to the gym with one of the fitness trainers for an additional half hour. They do some coordination and fitness training,
That's great. Yeah.
tennis training, but
So what we've been incorporating a lot of the coordination drills as warm up, but in order for it to be, fully beneficial for the kids and really provide them that full training, we are adding that extra half an hour at the end of the program. We're also, yes.
Sorry, is that at the end of the HP program or at the end of all the
We
programs?
haven't finalized the times yet, but for example, for the 4 to 5:30, we're looking at having the fitness from 5:30 to 6, but for the 5:30 to 7 programs, we're looking at having that just before, so they can come at from 5 to 5:30 in the gym. So that way, there's an entire hour from 5 to 6 for just fitness, but it's 2 different groups, half an hour each.
That's great. And is this, sorry, just to clarify, is this for all the programs or is it just for HP?
So to begin with, I think it was, it would be kind of be geared at the high performance programs. It's one of the challenges is trying to get, our fitness trainers to be available at all these times. So I think it would be a pretty big ask to ask them to come in and do this every day, as they obviously have some programs that they're running within the fitness program. So I think to start, we are kind of looking at doing it for the performance programs and the advanced green and teen programs on Thursdays. But certainly if it were, if there's, a thirst within the rec players for, some more fitness and coordination training, then certainly we'd take that feedback and, do everything we could to
That's great.
Provide something for the rec players as well.
That's great. Thank you. And then just my last one, Isabella, is more for you. I noticed in your first slide where it was a little bit about you, it's you have a line in there about keeping girls in sports, which was really nice to see. And I know you run a lot of the girls programs.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, and maybe it might be a little too much for this whole group to hear, but I was just wondering if you could help identify how you're working differently with the girls, sort of at the teen level, to keep them in the sport and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, 100%. So the biggest difference between girls and boys when it comes to sports is that boys perform once they get accepted by performing. So they feel like they're accepted once they're able to perform really well. So one would consider that as showing off, but really is just how a lot of boys, studies show, really feel like they're included. And the difference is the girls, they need to be socially accepted first in order for them to start performing. So one thing we actually recently started doing is we have 5-minute, let's say maximum 10-minute talks, depending on the level of engagement. We chat with the girls. We've been picking a different topic every week. So some topics would be self-confidence or inclusiveness, how to include others. And again, this is not just talking about girls. We also talk about boys in the chats, but we want to bring that awareness. And for example, last week we talked about stereotypes. What kind of things do girls face when it comes to sports? So hopefully this will bring the girls together a little bit more. And I know a lot of them are already friends for quite a young age, but we do have a lot of the new girls in the program. So we're hoping to create a really big community so that they can stay throughout high school and hopefully enjoy tennis at a university level whenever they go off.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jess.
All right, so we can start with the chat questions, but if anybody has any question right now, feel free to raise your hand or just unmute yourself and speak up.
I have a question. So I've currently got 3 of my kids that are different ages in programs, which means I'm at the club. We're all at the club for 3 hours, which is impossible to do on a weeknight, realistically, because that is the whole evening. And I can't actually get there on time, which is not your fault at all. And we ski in the winter at the weekend. So is there some way that I could, or the club could accommodate my kids having kind of more lessons that are not within such a broad width of time?
It's a really good question, and I certainly empathize with wanting to have all your kids there at the same time, just in terms of convenience. I think part of the challenge on our end is the limited court space, and it just sort of it becomes very tough to offer all age groups at the same time, while still leaving some courts open for recreational play and all the other stuff we have going on at the club. And one of the advantages of kind of having the same age group at the same time is it sort of allows you to group the kids based on level within those same age groups. So we do try our absolute best to sort of, make all the timing of our programs as convenient as possible on your end. And certainly, that's feedback that we'll take, and we'll do our best to, again, make our programming as convenient as possible for you in terms of the timing. But there are some challenges that come just from court space and other things like that. But
yeah, so as of now, we do have the red ball and the orange ball groups at the same time. And when it comes to, for example, green and advanced green, they're happening at the same time on weekends, as well as the regular ball and the advanced team. So two slightly different levels and groups, but of course similar age groups. So I know that your boys are, kind of, I guess they're green dot and regular ball, and I believe that's it now. Right?
Yeah, and I think
Soon enough.
part of the reason we do have, I think Jane, your kids kind of come on the Wednesday at 4 and at 5 and at 6, and part of the reason we put all those rec programs on Wednesdays so that rather than having, if you have 3 different kids having to come 3 different nights of the week, if you can just kind of come on that one night. I know it'd be ideal to sort of just come for that 1 hour on that one day, but
we'll definitely consider it. I mean, maybe
yeah,
there's
if we can
way.
figure out
I'm
a
sure
way to
there
make it
has to be a
happen,
way to go
that'd
around
be
it.
great. But there certainly are some roadblocks in terms of making that happen. Does that make sense, Jane?
Yeah, it does.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, anybody else would like to ask any questions before we take over the chat here? And
I had
thank-
a question
Yes,
about getting the kids to play more than just in the programs,
Mhm.
but not necessarily if they don't want to necessarily be playing in tournaments and at a competitive level, but they just want to play with other people.
Yeah.
Is there any, do you guys have any plans to include, like badminton has round robins and other ways to get people out playing that are not about competitions? Is there any plans like that for the junior?
so like a social event.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. So I think some things that we've sort of done in the past are we've had teen events where it's kind of a teen round robin where they sort of mix and match partners throughout the hour. We've even had for those teen bourbons, them go up to the gym and kind of shoot some hoops around afterwards. So it's a little bit more social rather than competitive. Certainly our rec programs would be great for that as well. And they're also free to just kind of book a court and get out within those junior playing times if they do join the section. But yeah, that's certainly some great feedback to get. And
if they don't know a lot of the other kids, are junior players allowed to book a court and bring a guest?
If they're junior members and
Junior
if
members,
they're
sorry.
able to play without supervision, then
yes.
Thank you.
But that's great feedback, Tanya, and certainly I think that we should look at creating some less competitive based events that are a little bit more social and can get our juniors out on the courts and playing.
Yeah, I mean it's the social's great. It's getting them playing more often without the pressure of it always being about a competition, just playing games more.
For
Sure.
sure.
And another thing to add to Jessica's question previously with the girl power, but this could be something that, could be expanded to everybody. With the girls, I'm actually thinking about taking them to, for example, a movie night or something, of course, within appropriate times and appropriate movies, but something more to take them on the outside as well. So that's another activity that we're looking at to really keep the groups together and hopefully maintain their interest in sports as well. Okay. Samantha, thank you.
Oh, yeah, hi, just I'm driving, so I tried to put it in the chat, but I'm at a box. I'm just trying to figure out from other people how they've managed to book times, because the times that you put out for when the juniors can play is challenging, because it's during it's either very early in the morning or very late at night, and for my 12-year-old it's not ideal. And then the weekends are hard to get any court time, period. So I'm just wondering from other people who've done this, how they've managed it and what their approach is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can get a few of the parents to jump in on that in a sec if there's anyone that would like to. Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is you do have to be pretty proactive about it. I think that obviously the times are pretty limited. I get that. So, trying to look the day before to see if there's any courts that have opened up with 24 hours before is a big one.
There's
But You know, and that does often happen. You know, courts will get canceled, or you know, some will just remain open.
So the way to do that,
Um,
sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just because it's on the same topic, you can actually use a waitlist feature on Game Time. So a big difference between our previous software and or system and Game Time is that you can use the waitlist and you can really customize how far in advance you're willing to receive that notification. So let's say if you're okay to be notified within 2 hours of the playtime, you know, by all means, then get that, right? Or we can say within 24 hours. So that way you're automatically allowed to book, and you get a court. Of course, it's not guaranteed, but this is in case all the courts are booked and somebody cancels. So you don't have to look and go out of your way to look, but you just get notified. And another way is, well, to be honest, in the afternoons, on weekends, after 4:30 or especially 5 or 6:30, the club is pretty dead. So very, very big opportunity for players to use that time. And I know it's not always ideal Sunday night, but of course, we're trying our best, and hopefully that you're also trying your best to make it happen for our kids, because really that's what our priority is. And again, we'll look to hopefully add as many courts as possible, but we're also limited by the court time that we get.
Yeah, and so I think it does require, you know, a little bit of parent involvement for sure with the younger kids. But I think part of what we're also trying to do with some of the older teens that we have, you know, playing in the box ladder, for example, is to get them to take a little bit of ownership of it. So, you know, our teens that are kind of, you know, 13 plus, we've kind of got them exchanging numbers with each other, and you know, we're sort of teaching them, you know, how to look through the bookings and stay on top of the courts. And you know, it does require you sort of being a little bit of a what's the word, like you just kind of always have to be sort of looking through the courts, trying to find one that's
Proactive.
available. And you know, it is a challenge, and I know that the junior playing times are a little bit limited, but I think you know, the more you can kind of stay on top of it and then try to find little pockets of time within your schedules, which we know are quite busy. I think, you know, we do have you know, lots of juniors at the club that are finding ways to play, and also playing other sports and keeping up with their school activities. So, you know, it is possible. It's challenging for sure. I get that, but you know, I think you know, if you sort of
So are you saying that if they're a junior member, they can have their own login for Game Time so they can actually book their own courts?
They can, yeah. So that's something you can just, if you just call into reception or stop by the front desk, they can definitely get, you know, our junior players set up with the login as well, so they can book their own courts. And yeah, that's something that kind of, you know, our team players have started to do for sure.
My only recommendation is, well, of course, a lot of the teenagers are using their phones all the time, so they'll probably be doing this through their phones. When they go Game Time, as I'm sure you do also, just make sure to use a desktop version of the website. It's much easier to access than, unfortunately, the mobile. So that's
Yeah. Okay, I'll chat sober with my teen and see how it goes. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Samantha.
Okay, so I'll start reading the questions from the chat. And by all means, if there's anything that you'd like to ask more, you know, offline, then send us an email as well at any time. So we have a question from Hamid. Do you plan to send out the presentation? Yes, we're happy to send it out. And we're going to be posting this recording on YouTube. So you can watch it anytime, skip through. I know sometimes we talk a little bit too much, but hopefully this is informative. And by the way, for those who don't have any more questions or would not like to stick around, we just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to the presentation and be involved. And this really shows a lot of commitment from your end when it comes to your kids, and we're all for that. So another question here. No clinics or lessons after December. Yes, we have our January winter program from January 9th until April 9th. So registration opens on December 7th at 10 a.m. And here.
Hamid's asking when we're planning to start the fitness program. So we're looking at getting that launched in January for the start of the January programs. We're just kind of talking with the fitness staff right now to make sure we have one of them available to run the programs. And then we're also trying to look at finding a space. But our hope is that, by the time the January programs are underway, that, those fitness programs are a part of them and kind of built into the cost.
Okay, and social events for the boys would be great too. Yes, I agree.
Yes,
Maybe Jamie, you can take.
For sure. It's a great idea.
And if we're considering adding Red Ball to the Girl Power Friday, so initially the Girl Power program was a little bit more restricted to the more advanced players per se, but we really wanted to open it up to everybody, just so that again we can follow that. The goal that we have is to keep the girls in sports, so we did expand it already. Now expanding that to Red Ball might be a little bit of a challenge in terms of court space, but it's definitely something that I'm looking into, especially that our girls set match demonstration was using Red Ball, so it would be ironic not to have that. So hopefully that'll be the case in the future, and the girls will be enjoying the program. So definitely considering that, but again, we have to look at the court usage and really what the most popular age category would be for the girls. But thank you for suggesting that. And okay. And if the cricket invitational is full.
I don't believe it is. I had a few register today. So yeah, if there's kids that still would like to register for the Cricket Club Invitational, you can send Jamie Pope an email, which is included on the email I sent out about it. If you don't have that email, or if you don't have Jamie Pope's email, feel free to send Isabella and I an email, and we'd be happy to send an email to Jamie on your behalf to get them registered. I saw one just above asking if the tournaments and the box ladders were for all levels.
Oh, yes.
And yes, to a certain extent. I think as long as your kid is able to play a match, then they should not have any hesitation about entering the tournament. If you're unsure about whether they're able to do that, just ask one of their coaches, and we'd be happy to answer the question. I think as long as they're able to pop in a serve and keep score and all these things, then by all means they should get their feet wet and hop right in there. We just want to make sure that it's a good experience for them, and that they that they're ready to go into a tournament, so that they want to come back and do it again. And in terms of the box ladders, like there are several box ladders at different levels. Again, we have, I think the youngest box ladder is, we've got kids playing from about age 7 to 9 in the lowest box. But again, they just have to be at a level that, they feel comfortable going out to play on a court, unsupervised, next to other members. So hopefully that kind of answers your question there. Some other questions here.
We have some really nice messages, so thank you for
thanks for
the
all the
appreciation.
Great
and
feedback, guys. That's awesome.
And we also take some constructive criticism, no problem. So any point there's anything you like to add, we're open, and of course we're trying our best to improve both the program, the players, ourselves, you name it. Okay, so if there are no more questions, look at that, perfect timing. It's 8:30.
Nailed it.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your time again.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, for making the time. We really appreciate it. And if there were any questions that you weren't able to think of during this presentation, shoot us a note, give us a call, drop by into the office. Our door's always open. And as Isabella said, it's your kids and your juniors that are within the program, and our goal is just to try to make it as enjoyable and challenging and as rewarding as we can for them. So any feedback you guys have, please let us know, and we'd be happy to take it and try to apply it to the program and to make it better for you guys.
All right, thank you. I know.
Thanks again.
Thank you, and I know Tanya, you're asking
Thanks,
for
guys.
the junior court times. I'll just show that one more time before we close the meeting. Thank you again, everybody.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a great
Awesome.
night.
Thanks.
Look forward to seeing
Bye-bye.
you all very soon.
Okay, just going to go back to the court times here. Hopefully, Tanya, you're still up on the presentation here.
And we
Yeah,
will,
I'll take a quick screenshot.
yes, we will be sending this out
Yeah.
to all of you as well. So you will have it if there's anything you want to go back and go over.
Thank you.
No problem.
No problem.
Very welcome.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Night.
Bye, guys.